you can make these things work.
Yeah, you can.
And it's not you don't have to be a high-tech person to want to fit them in. I'm not high-tech anywhere. I work with a shovel, so it doesn't matter.
And you've made it work for you.
Yeah.
This property is a former mine captain's house and is situated on the site of a disused copper mine plot. It's more or less 2,100 square feet with 4 bedrooms and 3 reception rooms. High ceilings, solid brick walls and slate roof, which is not suitable for solar, which left Gerald with only one other suitable solution. Welcome to the Everything Electric Show.
We started off with the original solar array, and I put that in about 11 years ago, and that was to take advantage of the FIT payments. And then luckily that was produced enough so that enabled me about 3 years ago to install the battery.
Wow, so it paid itself off quite quickly then?
Yeah. And then from the battery, the next thing went in was the air source heat pump, because my oil boiler had come to the end of its life. And I looked around for the best technologies, and the nicest one I could find was the heat pump. So we had that installed.
So with the heat pump, did you get the RHI payments for that and the renewable heat incentive?
Yes, I did.
So that's helping pay for that as well then?
Yeah.
So you've been really clever in the technologies you're picking and the payback?
That's right, yeah. So realistically, I've looked at it, and over the whole period, it's not cost me anything. People keep going on that payback. You know, if I'd bought an oil boiler, the payback would be never. With the heat pump in, we started to use a lot more electricity, so the decision was made to see about putting in a second array.
Yeah.
So we contacted the installers and they did all the work for us. Yeah. And put the second array in, and that's on a Cornish Rocker.
That's on a Cornish Rocker. I'm interested because I have no idea what that is, so I look forward to seeing this.
Oh yeah, it's a nice piece of kit. It follows the sun as it drops down over the year. Also, we've got a little Eddi who lives in the cupboard.
Oh, and, little Eddi in the cupboard, yeah.
And he's my friend because he gives me lots of hot water to take a nice deep bath with.
Nice. So tell me a bit about what you got in this cupboard then. Apart from Eddi, I've seen you've got your EcoDan indoor part, your heat pump outside.
Yeah, and we've got the water tank. That's the expansion tank for the water tank, and the expansion tank for the central heating.
The heating side, yeah.
And it's running at the moment, so it should be nice and warm. And
it's making all the right noises, isn't it?
Yeah, and Eddie's clicking in. There we go. He's boosting there because we've got excess solar.
Nice. So he's working right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. And you've got 2 immersions on this particular cylinder here as well.
Yes, we've got the one at the top and then one at the bottom. And which is, in my opinion, which makes it a smart meter or a smart tank really, because when it starts to boost, it will boost tank 1 first, which is the top element, and that heats the top portion of the tank, and so we can have instant hot water straight away. And if there's even more excess electricity, and the top temperature's up to temperature, or top tank part of the tank's up to temperature, the second element will light up, and it will heat the whole bottom part of the tank.
So you get a full tank of hot water. Brilliant, yeah. Making use of all that excess solar for you and free hot water.
And it's free hot water, yeah. We've had a whole summer of free hot water, which was lovely.
Yeah, it's not even summer now and you're getting hot water.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
So, Gerald, can you tell me what the motivating factors were for putting all this eco-tech into your house?
Several factors really. One of them was to try and future-proof it from my old age when I come into retirement, to cover the costs of the power usage for the house. Yeah. The uncertainty of future costs. Yeah. We do get power cuts here, so to cover us over those periods. And because we're producing a lot of solar, so it's charging up during the day. I love being a little powered house myself. Yeah. And because I love pushing power out to my neighbours to send in then their fresh green Cornish electrons. Yeah. So
straight from your small holding. Yeah. So this is the beating heart of your house then. So this is what keeps you going when the power cuts.
That's it. Yeah. Well, the reason I went for the Tesla at the time was it just come in with the Powerwall 2 and the gateway.
The gateway up there,
and what the gateway does, as you probably are aware, it isolates the house from the grid. So it allows the Tesla to give power directly to the house. That's the whole house. So we don't have to have dedicated circuits. Yes. And it also can charge from the solar. So if it's a long power outage and during the day, then the solar can continue producing, that will power the house, charge the Powerwall up, and we can stay in the right conditions. You can stay almost indefinitely just running on your own power. So this is I think this is probably the best piece of technology that I've had installed.
Yeah. So you mentioned the walls are quite thick, so I'm guessing that's full of granite and anything that came out of the mines that were around here. So has that thrown up any challenges in terms of getting heating into the house and keeping it nice and warm?
Well, it does, yeah. The stone being non-cavity, it does retain moisture. So most of the houses you'll see have got slate coverings on them.
Yeah.
That's to stop the moisture penetration, but it does still keep it damp. And when the sun shines on it, it doesn't dry out as quick as it should.
Okay.
So with the old heating system, which was the oil boiler on a normal central heating run, it would come on in the morning and then go off in the evening, and the fluctuation of temperature creates damp and mould.
Because it wasn't consistent, yeah.
That's it, yeah. And now we've got the heat pump, and it's running constantly at a set low temperature, so it's nice and warm.
Yeah.
And it's dried out the dampness, and we don't get the mould anymore.
So I love looking at the tech that people put in their houses. You ready to give me a little sneak peek?
Yeah, no problem. Hope you brought your wellies with you.
I have actually.
Yeah, it's just through here. Okay then.
So this is what's heating your house then. So when you got this heat pump, why did you decide on this one? How did you know which size to get?
Well, we've got several companies in to give us quotes, and they also did heat calculation for the house.
Heat loss calculation for the house, yeah.
So they came up and said that this would be the proper size for it, which is about 11.2 kilowatts, I think this one is. And the original boiler was 12, so it was slightly over. And so we went with this, and this is the size that's suitable for the house. And it's running at the moment, and it's almost silent.
They're not as loud as people make out them to be.
No, it is. It's amazing.
It is.
It's amazing.
Magic box.
Technology, completely amazing.
So how many solar panels do you have feeding the battery in the house?
Well, we've got two systems.
Yeah.
We've got one 3.6 kilowatt, which is the original one I had put in first of all.
Yeah.
And then I added to that another 10 kilowatts.
Yeah, so I didn't see them on the roof, so are they somewhere else?
Yeah, they're out in the field.
So these are
the original ones. This is what started it all. This is a 3.6 kilowatt system, and it's fixed on a standard metal frame, but it's held up by the wooden posts.
I can see they're pretty solid, big chunky wood.
Yeah, they're all larched, and they're fixed into the ground with concrete foundations, because at the time we didn't know any better.
Yeah. Well, they're still here, aren't they?
That's it, yeah, they haven't moved at all.
Yeah. So when we look at your roof now, we can see why you couldn't have it on your roof. Obviously, it's not a lot of space anyway, so you can definitely fit more on the ground mount than you can on your roof.
Yeah, well, it's a traditional roof. It's a rag slate roof.
Yeah.
Although it looks pretty uniform from the outside, all the slates are of different sizes and different lengths, and they're all nailed onto fixed battens, so you couldn't really fit the brackets to hold a solar system on there.
Yeah, it would be quite difficult.
Yeah, and
not very safe either. No.
Yeah, and also I don't think it would get as much power from the panels off that roof than we would, because it's a bit smaller. So
you can fit a lot more here. This is a nice setup as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. And it gives you the flexibility to make sure that it's in the right orientation.
Exactly. It's facing south. Yeah.
Yeah, and this one is on the on the feed-in tariff, so this is what basically is paid for everything else. Yeah. Realistically.
It's a good investment, definitely.
Yeah, it was right from the start. It was a bit expensive to start with, especially back in 2011. Yeah. Because they were, I forget how much they were now. I didn't tell you because my wife will find out. So, so we just keep that one quiet. Okay. So this has actually paid for everything else. That's why I said that it actually hasn't cost me anything, because everything's been paid for with the feed-in tariff, the savings from electricity, and our own home production.
Whilst Gerald is adjusting the Cornish Rocker, don't forget we have 6 live events in 2023 this year, and all the details are down below if you want to have a look at those. You'll get to see all the cool tech we've got, so see you at the show. So this is the Cornish Rocker then?
Yes, this is it. Yeah, we've got 3 sections. Yep. So there's 3 rockers underneath, and this is a 10 kilowatt system, and it runs into 2 3.5 kilowatt inverters, giving us the 7. Right. And this is what's run most of our electricity for the heat pump for the winter. And this has been in for just about a year now, so this is the first winter we've had it. Yeah. And that. And
it's pretty nice, isn't it? And you've got the all black panels as well.
Yes, yeah, that's much nicer. That sits into the countryside a bit better, I thought.
Yeah, it does look nice against the sort of your dark slate of the house, doesn't it? So it is very aesthetically pleasing.
That's it.
That's the word.
That's the word. That's the one. Yeah, and Yeah, so when you change the angle or the inclination, as another word, on one panel, and then you just match the others to it.
Okay.
So it's a very easy system to use. It's just 4 little grub bolts which you loosen off, change the angle, tighten them up again, and it's fixed.
Okay.
And this is where you get your savings from. This is in its winter configuration, so it's picking up the sun at the lowest part of the year. It'll give you up to 40% more power than you would get if you were to just
have it on a fixed mount. Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And did it take any longer to install it, being a Cornish Rocker, to a fixed mount?
No, it was really simple. There's no concrete in the construction.
Okay.
It's got ground anchors that go down.
They're corkscrewed in, are they?
No, these ones are just they've got a little flip on the end of them. They're pushed into the ground, and then they pull the rod back up, and it makes the anchor bite into the ground.
Yeah.
Then the plate's screwed onto the top of that, and then the scaffold part of it's built on top of the plate. So there's and the cost of that is about the same as it would be for a fixed mount system. So it's no more expensive.
It's no more expensive, and you're getting up to 40% better production out of it as well. So really, it's a win-win, isn't it?
It is.
Why isn't they all on Cornish Rockers?
Well, that's it. Yeah.
So last summer it was particularly sunny. So did you see a big increase or so production?
Oh yes, massive.
Yeah.
With the smart meter we had, I had a quick look at it, and it showed that I've produced twice as much than I've imported.
Really?
And we pushed a lot of that out onto the grid.
Yeah.
And we get a payback from that through the agile tariff, or Twiss outgoing, and that has covered the whole of my winter electric bill.
Wow.
So it totaled, don't mind, about £1,400 credit onto my bill.
So your house is very unique in terms of, you're going to find us in Cornwall on the side of a moor. So what kind of anecdotal advice would you give other people looking to do something similar to yourself?
Well, I have to say, sort of look at your own situation, find out what fits you. Doing simple things, silly little things like door stops and stop the draft coming through, and things like that. It all depends entirely on where you live and what you do. One of the things I've also done is I've joined the Ripple Energy co-op for
I've heard about this.
For a wind turbine.
Yeah.
And it's the one in Scotland. It should come in about December this year, and anyone can join that or join something similar to that. And the beauty of that is it goes with you, not the house. So if you move, if you're living in a flat and you then move on to somewhere else, you can take that saving with you.
So even people living in apartments and flats, they can still do their little bit by doing something like that.
Yeah, they can still produce green energy themselves. It's not all about installing big expensive pieces of equipment. Everyone can do a little bit and make it work for themselves. So
you're pretty well kitted out here with all the eco-tech you have got, but is there anything you wanted to put in the future?
Yes, a car charger.
Okay,
Because when my old diesel car finally gives up the ghost, we're going to buy an electric one because we're producing so much power. One of the other reasons for getting a second array was future-proofing for the car charger, so we can try and power the car on our own green Cornish electrons.
You are going to be your own power station soon, aren't you?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm hoping to register with the government.
Yeah. This house is a great example of the old working alongside the new. Gerald's done a really good job at showing us exactly what can be done. Don't forget to like, subscribe and leave your comments below on what you've done in your properties. And as always, if you have been, thanks for watching.